Welcome back, watch people. Now I'm afraid it's another tale of woe this afternoon. I'm going to introduce to you another brave individual who's been the victim of robbery recently. That's Stuart. Stuart is going to come on the line in just a moment and tell you his story. Now, as you all know, I've been campaigning long and hard, and I haven't finished yet in my attempt to get Rolex UK to reinstate their lost and stolen register to both members of the public and also to independent dealers. And here's another reason why. Stuart, good afternoon, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, Paul. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'll just recount the story to your viewers as it happened. Sunday, September the 6th at about 3:50 p.m. So this is in broad daylight. I left my home, walked across a terrace in front of where I live, and as I said, it's popular for day trippers. And so plenty of potential for thieves. And walked down a slope to about 400 yards to a bus stop. I'm afraid I'm a little more humble than some of your witnesses. And to catch bus. At the bus stop, I was facing the direction of the bus, a motor scooter with two individuals on it, no number plate on the motor scooter, and one in black and white, came over. In all innocence, I thought it was just to ask the way and ask the directions. He came up to my left-hand side, so I didn't quite see him. And then carried on started the attack. The attack was the object, as far as I can see, was to get me to the ground as quickly as possible, hanging on to my left wrist, and snatch the watch, and literally then cross back over the road and scooted off on the bike. It was witnessed by two people. I believe there was a spotter conducting the whole, or overseeing the attack. He would have been on a bike, would have cycled to follow me to ensure that the attack is undertaken successfully. Yeah, so that was the attack. I would say it took less than about 10 seconds.
It's a harrowing yet sadly familiar tale, Stuart. Was you hurt physically?
My bruises will last less long than my personal dignity, I think, Paul. I'm unhurt, but quite a lot of bruising.
And how has it left you feeling from a mental viewpoint?
I think this probably echoes quite a lot of other people when, because I feel as if I should have protected myself more. To give you a brief description, I'm just under 6 foot, 17 stone, and an ex-rugby player. And to have that kind of attack, I feel as if I should have defended myself more. There are other feelings of minor depression. I consider myself a reasonably tough-minded individual. I've worked and lived in most parts of the world with the same watch. I've had the watch for 40 years. So yes, a feeling I should have done more, and slight depression, and a sense of loss, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before to other victims, you know, from a personal viewpoint, this isn't something, unfortunately, that's going to go away, at least from the back of your mind. The mental scars, unfortunately, do tend to last a lot longer than the physical ones. But tell us a little bit about the watch. Unfortunately, at the moment, its documents are tucked away in your safety deposit box in France. So just give us a rough idea of what the watch looks like, and I'll try and put something up on screen that matches perfectly for me.
Okay, fine. It's a red and blue bezeled Rolex GMT Master. Its approximate year of manufacture would have been pre-1981. It is not, repeat, not the GMT Master 2. It is the Master, the original Master. It's not in terribly good condition, I would add. It's the winder doesn't depress fully, which is maybe of help these days. It's the bezel itself, particularly the red section, is faded, and it is. There's also a minor chip of maybe 1 millimeter on the red section of the bezel. It runs slow, and that's all. And there is no luminosity on the actual face of the watch. I understand this fades over time.
So now Stuart is going to forward me details of the watch, the serial number, etc., when they are available. And what I'll do, guys, is I'll pop that into the video description at a later date as soon as they become available to me. Stuart, what area did this take place in? Because I think this might come as a bit of a surprise to a lot of people.
Well, no greater surprise to me. It is on Richmond Hill, which is Richmond, Surrey, and there is a vast area of public space there, and I was crossing that particular area towards, for those of you who know this part of the world, towards Ham Common.
I mean, this is an affluent part of the world, if anyone is not aware of Richmond and the surrounding areas. The fact that one of the guys was on a push bike, for me at least, unless they've bought that bike along in a vehicle, it tends to point to the fact that it could be someone potentially locally. What's the reaction of the police been so far?
A perfect study in disinterest. They have taken a crime I've been given a crime reference number. By sheer chance, the assailants also appeared at a golf club and acted in a threatening way that morning. And so I passed the details of that CCTV over to the police, but because they could not be identified, they have taken no further action. There was also CCTV, I suspect, from a local hotel, which would have indicated the cyclist, but they didn't seem to be terribly interested. I don't want to turn this into a police bashing session for your viewers, but it takes some accentuation to make the police realise that it is almost impossible for two people on a motorbike, motor scooter, to going at about 30 miles an hour to identify someone on the opposite side of the road and make a split-second decision to relieve him of a watch, which at that time was underneath my shirt cuff.
Yeah, you've almost certainly been spotted. Don't worry about criticising the police, Stuart. You can leave that all entirely up to me. I know exactly what they do, what they don't do. You said something very interesting there, in that it was hard to garner their interest in it, and it just seems to me these days, when it comes to watch robbery at least, and I know there are many other instances in crime where the public just don't seem to be getting the service these days. But look, we'll move on from that. I don't want this, as you said, I don't want it to be coming into a police bashing exercise. I think viewers know my thoughts about police and their investigations. One thing, a little tip that I would give you is that any CCTV that you feel might be available, go and collect it yourself, because they won't bother to do it. Analyse the CCTV yourself, and if you feel that you can garner any evidence from that, then take it to the police. And if they're not interested, insist that it's moved upstairs, and just keep banging on and on and on at them, because unless you do, they'll just pay you lip service until you go away. Yes,
I have tried to do that. More by chance and coincidence, Paul. I've found and retraced people. I'm reasonably well known in the area, as is my wife, and so people have come forward through the local sort of neighbourhood social media to say, "Oh, I spotted somebody," and then somebody else said there was something happening at the golf club. So I'm pretty certain there is 2 sets of CCTV footage of 1, 2, or maybe even 3 of them. But I will follow your suggestion and contact the hotel again and speak to the golf club and see if I can see it then. I see it there as well. Just as a minor point here, Paul, the hotel one, I did say that obviously due to the usual thing of privacy, that I would be unlikely to see it and they could only show it to the police. In your opinion, is that correct?
Sadly, in this country, data protection laws will sadly protect the criminals. That is one of the major issues that we have in the country. What you've got to do, Stuart, is to just keep banging on and on and on to the police until you get what you want. Now, the thing that I would suggest is that you contact the hotel, tell them that you're aware that the police may drag their heels on this. Please ask them to keep a copy of that CCTV because it will unquestionably show these guys in the same clothes that they're wearing during attack. But more importantly, it'll almost certainly reveal their face and therefore their identity. Now, under normal circumstances, for normal regular people, it wouldn't take Sherlock Holmes to find out who these people are, but it might just prove to be a little bit too much for our police force, I'm afraid.
Yes, I couldn't disagree with that. I feel as if they could have and should have done more. I can't quite believe, again, I have to stress that I'm not a frequent user of police services and neither am I accustomed to the workings of the criminal underworld. But I would have thought 4 days to open and close the case seems a little on the short side. I understand it will be left open for other police officers to look at some point in the future, but it does seem to be rather cursory.
Just be very wary of the lip service they will pay you. That is their number one weapon in their armoury. They'll tell you all the things that you want to hear, but ultimately believe what you see. That would be my final bit of advice on that one. Last of all, I would just like to add, finishing up on this video, is that a lot of people in recent videos where I've highlighted crimes have told me, you know, Paul, we've got the message, there's no need to keep playing the same message, keep banging the drum. And you know what, someone like Stuart could have been one of those people, very easily could have been one of those people just a couple of weeks ago. But I think Stuart's story again highlights the dangers that we're in as watch people, and more importantly for me as an individual, it highlights the lack of care and attention to detail that we are currently getting from our police forces right now. Stuart, thank you so much for coming on. I wish you all the best, my friend. I will do my very best. Please make sure you get that watch on with the watch register and the official Rolex register as soon as you get that serial number, and don't forget to pass that on to me as well.
Okay, could I just add 2 tiny snippets of what could be helpful information? Firstly, it never happens to you until it happens to you. That's the first bit. The second thing is that should I ever purchase another Rolex, I will wear it on the inside of my wrist, not the outside, as I have done when I've been in difficult parts of the world in the past. Those are the only 2 bits of help that advice I can give. But Paul, thank you very much indeed for your time and for your viewers watching this.
Yeah, it's my absolute pleasure. I wish we'd met under better circumstances, but you know, all I can say again, thanks for coming on, and appreciate your bravery. Good luck, mate.
My absolute pleasure, Paul.